Hello everyone. Well, it's upon us. Another month, and another great month that is going to be for horror books. My list of books that I can't wait for you guys to check out just keeps growing and growing and growing. I mean, I got a backlog that I want to tell you guys about. But all three of these books I can highly recommend. They're all indie horror books, and they're all coming out in November. So this is a great way to start the month, and I hope you will check out these books. And as always, I want to remind you that I have horror books for sale. They're $1 each. You can pick up the ones you see on your screen at the link in the description. And don't forget to get your Read More Horror t-shirt. There's a link down below for that. Different colors and sizes, of course, are available. All right, let's get started. So the first book I want to talk about today is called There Came a Knocking by John McCool. This is a horror story about something that I think everybody can agree is a horrific situation. A home invasion, but not your typical kick in the door and scare everybody type of home invasion. This one is a lot more creepy and a lot more tense. Let's put it that way. And this is about two women. They share a house together. One of them just broke up with her boyfriend. And so they're gonna spend the night eating junk food and watching movies on the TV and all that, you know, the typical horror setup. And the things that begin to happen, people knocking on the door and then seemingly running away, nobody's ever out there, scratchings at the windows going all the way around the house, freaking out the girls. And at first they think it's this, one of our protagonists' ex-boyfriend, the one she just broke up with, because he was kind of childish like that, and they think he's doing it just to get back at them. But then a pizza delivery girl shows up, gives them their pizza, and says, hey, I saw somebody running around the back of your house. And that's when things start to escalate, because they soon find out that it's not the ex-boyfriend. And pretty soon the noises and the things increase. The scratchings and the knockings on the windows, and it sounds like somebody's running around the house beating on the walls, but whenever they look out, nobody is there. Of course, they lock the doors, they try to lock all the windows, but then they find an open window in the basement, and come to find out, whoever it is has made their way inside the house, and he is now stalking them through their own house, trying to kill them, of course. This is just a great, very much a frightening horror book, because it has that premise of something that could actually happen in real life. And to me, that's what made it so effective, the way he wrote about it, and how it just builds up and builds up and builds up until you feel like you're about to burst, you know. And we will find out some things about who the killer is and why kind of he's doing this to them. But until that ending, we have no idea. It just seems so random, and you know, maybe they were just picked out of the blue. Who knows? But they can't escape their house because they don't really know where he is in there. He's hiding, but he's whispering to them. He's tapping on things. He's stomping through the house trying to scare them while they're in hiding, trying to get them out of their hiding places. It's just fantastic. It's a home invasion book, filled with horror, filled with tension, filled with terror. I absolutely love this book, and it's coming out later this month. And you can pick up your pre-order at the link in the description, and I highly recommend it. And next we have, an awesome anthology called Dread by Kevin Bakar. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I have a problem sometimes pronouncing names, if you hadn't noticed. But he's a National Geographic cinematographer, so he's been out in nature. He's gone all over the world. He's done some incredible things and put himself in some dangerous situations. And now he's written this book of 22 horror stories. And the thing I love about this book is that these are all nature-based horror stories. Some of them are based on his experiences, where he has taken those things and put this really terrifying spin on them. And all 22 of these stories are just bangers, man. I'm telling you, they're meant to scare you, and they will. because again, nature is unpredictable, and you can imagine, you can suspend your disbelief because you can imagine these things happening. From being almost literally eaten alive with giant mosquitoes in a jungle, to a search and rescue team who is being haunted by a victim they couldn't save in a horrible, horrible manner. You have stories in here that, about snakes, about giant bugs and insects, just about nature gone running amok and trying to murder you, as it will in real life sometimes. Just ask him if you don't believe me. And he has one story in here that is a true story based on his experiences when he went hunting for a Bigfoot. Now, even though that might not be a horror story per se, I found this story absolutely fascinating. It was fantastic. I loved it. He's a great storyteller. He knows how to spin those yarns, you know, and it really kept my interest in what he experienced, or when he was with other people who were Bigfoot hunting. And yeah, that one was a little bit creepy too. And yeah, you just have to see how that one ends. But all 22 of these stories are very well written. It's absolutely excellent. I love this anthology. I can't recommend it enough. And there is a link down below where you can pre-order your copy of Dread. And I highly recommend that you do that. And next we have The Kinsmen by P.A. Shepard. This is kind of a sequel, or maybe a prequel, or somewhere in between of his first book, The Nightcrawler. And if you have not read The Nightcrawler, you can read this one without reading the other one. But man, do I highly recommend you read The Nightcrawler first. Well, actually, it doesn't matter which order you read them in, because they are going to connect somewhere right there in the middle. But this one is about kind of a post-apocalyptic world where bugs, human-sized giant bugs that have a taste for human flesh, are running rampant. And they have basically decimated humanity. And in this book, we're talking about big giant cockroaches that are chasing people down and eating them. But we're going to meet two characters. One is Zadie. She is a woman who, when we first meet her, she's pregnant. And then Steve, he's kind of a loner, kind of an alcoholic. He's going to see his brother, who they haven't spoken in years and years and years, but he's hoping that maybe because of the situation this world is in, they could have a bonding moment, which will go very, very wrong very, very quickly. You'll have to read about that. But Zadie and Steve wind up together and trying to escape the madness of this world where these giant bugs are just everywhere. Now, the bugs only come out at night, and as soon as dawn breaks, that's when they get to rest, get to resupply, get to do all the things they need to do. So it's kind of a backwards kind of world where everybody is, sleeps during the day, and they have to be up and vigilant all night so they don't get eaten by these giant bugs. But this book is also filled with a lot of heart, because it's going to tell the story, and eventually they're going to meet the character from the first book, The Nightcrawler. And in that book, you'll see it from that character's perspective, how she met these two people. But this one, like I said, I don't know if you would call it a sequel or a prequel, but there will come that time when we get to see things from these characters' perspectives. Because if you've already read The Nightcrawler, you know how that led up to meeting them. Hope that wasn't too confusing. But anyway, yes, these two books do go together, and I highly recommend both of them. But you can read either one as a standalone, and you're not going to be lost, but you'll just get so much more out of them. But this one is coming out later this month. It's filled with heart. It tells a great story about redemption and about getting your life together and finally doing the right thing for the right reason in a world that's gone absolutely insane. And it's a very touching story, but it's also filled with these bloody, gory scenes of giant cockroaches eating people. Yeah, so it's got everything. I absolutely love this book, and I highly recommend it to you. And again, it's coming out later this month. There is a pre-order link in the description. I highly recommend it. And as always, I want to say thank you for taking some of your time and spending it here with me. And until we meet again, keep reading spooky, my friends.